Welcome to the next episode of Theater Junkies, everyone. I'm Aaron Christopher, and we've got a plethora of people on here. Well, one extra special guest, our mama, right? This would not be possible without her. So let's give her a round of applause. Yeah, welcome to the pod, ma. But today or tonight rather, you're gonna see it tomorrow morning. But for us, it's late at night. We just went ahead and watched Madam Web, so we figured we'd go ahead and talk about it. See uh, the uh, the specialness of this film, I should say. We don't here at Theater Junkies. We try not to give a bunch of spoilers. This one might be a little bit difficult not to. We're going to touch on things you might have seen in the trailer if you've went to that previously. But Madam Web, of course, is an adaptation of Marvel from the Sony Marvel universe. So with the cool thing about them is they're actually branching everything together. This one, I won't say whether or not they branch it, make any branches in the Spider Verse, but uh, let's see. I'll just. It's about Cassandra Webb. She's in New York metropolitan, or she's a metropolitan paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance. Forced to challenge revolutions about her, or excuse me, I'm reading. I don't read very well, but you didn't need to know that. Jeremy's much better at this reading stuff than me. Uh, Forced to challenge revelations about her past, she needs to safeguard three young women from a deadly adversary who wants to destroy them. Now, directors S.J. Clarkson and the writers Matt. Oh, I'm gonna butcher all of these. Matt Sazama, Burke Sharpless, and Claire Parker. Stars Dakota Johnson. Which, fun fact, my mom told me this right before the movie started. That who is it? It's
The
Melanie
daughter
Griffith
of, yeah.
Melanie Griffith and
and Don Johnson.
Don Johnson's daughter. I did not put
hmm
that together. I had no idea. None. But
I
now
knew
I do.
since 50 Shades of Grey came out, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Really?
they even had, I think they had both of them talking about uh, her being in that movie.
Hmm.
Because it's a very
Oh, that's
hypersexual movie.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. But also starring Sydney Sweeney, Isabella. Anybody want to take a chance on that one?
Merced,
Mercedes,
Merced.
Merced, Merced. All right, and it has a whole bunch of other people: Celeste O'Connor, Tahar Rahim, Mike Epps was in it for a very short, brief period of time.
Yeah.
Emma Roberts, Adam Scott, which was a surprise to me. I'm glad I saw him in this film. Carrie Bichet, and then uh, a bunch of other people. Uh, let's see. Usually, I start out this pod by asking a bunch of questions, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask you, Mom. What did you enjoy the film?
I will say I
Without,
enjoyed portions of it.
uh-huh. But
Uh,
overall, what would you say?
yeah, I would say out of Marvel movies, it was okay for me. It wasn't anything great,
Uh-huh.
but I have seen movies that are worse that I just want to leave the theater. And this one, I did not feel that way. Sometimes I just want to, oh, when is this going to be over? I just want to
Uh-huh.
leave. And I didn't feel that way with this one. So I was able to sit through it and enjoy it.
Yeah. So were
So,
there portions? What would you say it was a higher percentage of? Oh, this is pretty good. Was it in the
well,
higher
I
percentile?
maybe for me it was because it was about women too. I don't know. That could have had an influence too. Because it was
Mhm.
all about chicks, really. Just the
Chick
bad
power,
guy was the
bro.
guy.
Girl
Yeah,
power.
chick
Go girl
power.
power.
Chick power.
Yeah, girl power. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's good.
that could
What
be
about you?
another reason why I kind of enjoyed it a little. I mean, there were portions about it I didn't enjoy, but hey, most movies are like that for me anymore. So
Jeremy,
Anyway,
do you notice if my framing is it stalling?
yes, it is.
It is, but I wouldn't worry about it. I keep telling you that
Okay.
it's recording on the back
Well,
end.
I'm
So
okay. Well, I was just wondering because it's going through OBS, so and I don't know why it's having to do that this time. So, either way, what about you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, what you guys
Josh
think?
or
It
Jeremy?
seemed like when you watched the trailer, you watched the movie. That's what it felt
Ah,
like to me. And it dragged. And okay,
yeah, it
my
did
main
drag.
drawback was the writing. Whoever, the people that wrote this movie could have wrote it a lot better. I'm just saying.
Well,
And this
how
is
is it?
coming from, I shouldn't say that there was just certain parts in the movie that I was just like, this is so stupid. Why would you talk about this in the movie? But
Well, what if being vague about what you're talking about? Is there a way you can describe how?
it's just certain things that, okay, they tell the plot, a good chunk of the plot, through just talking instead of showing. And then there's just certain bits and pieces that Cassie says. I think that's what they go by for most of the film. Her name is Cassie instead of Cassandra. But like, she says some stuff that I was just like, it was just very cringy to me. Like when I
Okay.
heard it, and I was like, why didn't they just cut that out? Like, you don't need to say certain things. It's like I don't want to like go in depth with it,
Give it
but I'm
away.
sure
Yeah.
that anybody that
That's why
has
I asked
watched this
vague.
and watch it, they'll be like, "Oh man, why did they choose that?" Some of the
Uh,
jokes that they had her say in this just didn't land like at all. Like I don't
wait,
know
she stole
why she
jokes from
even
this?
said it. Yeah, well,
I
she
didn't.
said some
I
stuff
didn't
that
even get any
made it
jokes.
seem like they were trying to make it like a joke. Like her rapport with is that the Adam dude, the one that's from Parks and
Yeah.
Rec, I think, right?
Uh-huh.
So like her rapport with her
Or his
partner
name in the movie was
was
Ben.
kind of yeah. Oh, Ben, yeah, but like her rapport with him, it was like they kind of were jokey, but not like nothing was like I don't know. It seemed like if you ordered Marvel and then you got like uh I don't know, kind of like I'm trying to think of an offshoot comic book thing that I could think of that's kind of like rips off Marvel, but I can't think of anything. Like it's just not
So
the
you're
same. It's
saying it was like the Kmart
yeah,
Marvel,
maybe a Kmart
or the
version
Walmart
of
version of
Marvel. Yeah,
Marvel.
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
was
like
produced by
yeah,
Sony, Columbia.
yeah. And with what the like, I was talking about this with uh someone, and I was just like, Morbius was better than this movie, and so many people trashed on that one compared to this one,
No,
Well,
and
just
it's
I
like,
no.
give it some time. It might be trashed on
Morbius was
even more.
hard for me to
yeah.
sit through.
Yeah, it was
It was
difficult.
bad. It was
It was
bad.
pretty rough.
This was not
No,
that bad.
well, I was just saying, I think I didn't like this one as much as I liked that one.
which one?
Well, you
But I
like a
I
lot
mean,
of.
must.
Well,
Morbius. It's
Oh,
Morbin time.
I haven't even
When they
seen
talked about
Morbius
that,
yet.
yeah,
well, I mean, it
Jared
was
Leto.
okay for that movie, and this one just felt like worse to me. Like when I was watching it, and that's not. I was trying to come in there with the like low expectations or whatever, expecting something out of it, and it just didn't do anything for me at all.
But what about you, Jeremy?
I have a totally different opinion, I guess, because I I liked the movie. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't see a problem with
I
it.
mean, from my standpoint, I picked up on everything they were pushing too. So I don't think a lot of people really grasped the fact of who Ben was or who his sister is
Uh-huh.
and who the kid is that she had. But that's all I'm gonna say. But it
Uh
We
huh.
got to
is,
talk about that
yeah, it is,
off pod.
yeah. You got to know what his name. Anyways, you got to think about the whole process. When you go in to watch it, you'll figure out who is in the story. is not really talked about.
Okay,
But
well, I didn't
yeah, we'll
see.
talk about it
I just saw
afterwards.
most of the spider people, but like
But
I
what
saw
I
most
will
of the spider.
say, what I want to say is, I don't think all the castings were the right people. Like,
I agree.
I don't think
Yeah,
I agree.
I've seen Sydney Sweeney in a lot of stuff. I don't feel she was properly cast in this movie. Um, I don't know if I think
Which
so.
one?
She was Julia,
Sydney's.
the
Yeah.
Julia, the one that was in. She's been in a lot of HBO stuff, like White
Euphoria.
Lotus
Oh,
and
Julia,
Yeah.
Euphoria. Yeah,
the blonde.
the
I've
schoolgirl
seen her
looking
before.
girl, the
Oh,
the
I thought. Yeah,
The
Sydney Sweeney
Latino,
was the blonde girl.
yeah, the Latino
I've
one was
seen.
from Transformers: The Last Night.
Yeah, I've seen her
Um,
Hmm.
before.
and then Celeste O'Connor was in, or well, she's coming up. I think she's in the new Ghostbusters movie coming out. But
Oh, okay.
but I think the three, they were iffy castings, especially Sydney Sweeney for me. I just don't, and I think this is coming off of the fact I just took Elaine to a movie on Friday. It's a rom com where she played
Hmm.
somebody in it. It was called Anyone But You, and seeing her in that, and then
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
her in other movies that she's been in, I don't feel she was the right person to put in this one. So that kind of hit me the
No.
wrong way. But Elaine could say the same thing. She didn't go with us to watch the movie, but she doesn't care for Dakota Johnson that much. And but I feel she was the right person to cast in this movie
Yeah, I think
because
she
of the
did
way
great.
she is, and what you were saying, Josh, about the jokes. That was the kind of person Cassandra was. Like, before she found out like her origin, and I'll just say that in the, when they explain that through the movie, early on she was very skeptical about her life, so she came across not really giving a shit about anyone. Which the
Yeah,
funny
well,
thing
she
is she
No, I
I
was,
didn't
understand.
care.
which is the funny thing is she was a paramedic, so it was like she cared about people,
Yeah,
but at
yeah.
the
She's
same time
loyal.
she, didn't really care. I mean, so, but I think she played that role perfectly. So I mean, I guess
I think so.
where my where my point with the story was been, I would have wanted more connection to the Marvel universe, and that's where I don't know if it really did that, because it hit a lot of stuff. And like you guys, well,
Mhm.
you guys were like surprised by what I said a few minutes ago, and that's why I said I think if they would have pushed that, or even done a post credit scene that kind of pointed to more, then it would have made more stuff for more people make sense. And I think that's why critics and other people have had issues with the movie, because it really hasn't. It's put in the Marvel universe, but you don't really know how, especially if you're not like a huge comic book person. Like, you wouldn't even know that she
I'm
was
not.
a character, or
Well,
part of the story.
I knew.
Who
So
you're talking about? Cassandra Webb?
Yeah, a Madame Web. Yeah,
yeah, Madam
Yeah,
Web.
Madam Web.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
if I mean, you would have to just know that. So I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
she's
right.
like she's like the B list of, well, I mean, being raised reading comic books and stuff like that. Madam Web was never a comic book that I read, and I think it was, I don't even know how many issues they had, but she was a secondary character that was brought out in, in the Spider-Man universe. From what
hmm
I think, I don't even know that's how B she was.
yeah, and that's
So
what
Yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
surprised.
and that's what I mean, that they, because of that, I think they should have connected it more in the movie, and that's, I think, where it
No,
has.
I think they tried
Yeah.
with her friend. You know what I mean? And it's the timeline's a little bit more difficult to really put two and two together as well, because it's set in 79. I think, was it 79?
Well,
Well,
the
73.
original
73.
part, and then they moved into
And this is
2003
a
later
spoiler
on.
that
Yeah.
you can give away. It's just a time
Yeah, it
frame.
was her
So
mom in
before she was born,
73.
and then it led up to 2003 is
Right.
where it's taking place.
Right.
hmm
So it's like, based on that, if you've watched any other Sony produced Spider-Man flicks, it might be uh, might coincide with some things, and then you can put two and two together there. But I agree with Jeremy for sure. The casting, I didn't think about the casting as far as Sydney Sweeney goes, or the three the three girls. Well, there are four total, but I meant the three younger girls.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think any of their castings were an issue. For me, the biggest one that made an impact in the film would have been the protagonist or the antagonist, which is Tamar Rahim. I'm not saying he did a bad job or anything like that, but it just seemed like it was just they were trying to put a Spider-Man esque in the film in order to drive more sales, perhaps. Like they were trying to emulate that so that it would get people into the theater. Like
Mm-hmm.
who else would be like? What else do they have? They have Madam Web, which nobody knows, or a big population doesn't know who that
I
is.
didn't know.
So they
I didn't
used the
Yeah.
know.
costume of
It,
Spider-Man on the antagonist in order to drive this as a force, and it just seemed really forced to me. There were moments in the film where they had it was an editing issues to where lips didn't add up to uh, what they did in the editing room post. There were quite a bit, and it just he didn't seem menacing enough
Yeah.
to really be like, why is he doing it? Like he just didn't seem like he had it. Like
Well, when
I
he
don't know,
touched
it just
him,
wasn't there for
when
me.
he touched him, when he touched someone, he did because he would put the poison in them, like the one chick when he killed the
Hmm.
one lady, the one woman. Yeah, you could see the poison going up to her face, and stuff. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
that was
yeah.
kind of cool, actually.
Oh no, there were
But
cool
but I
elements
didn't
in the
get that whole
character.
talking about that part. I didn't even get that whole part. Why was he sleeping in bed with her? What did he?
yeah, hold on, hold on. Yeah, try not to
Spoilers.
spoil too much.
Oh, oh, that's
We're
true.
not trying to give away spoilers for the
That's
movie.
true.
We're not talking about individual parts,
I'm
like
sorry.
parts of their character. Cool. It's your first time on the Theater Junkies
Yeah,
podcast,
it
so
is. I've
it's a
never done
little.
this before.
It's hard. The first one we did, we talked about the entire
Oh,
movie.
okay.
The
So
Well,
you
entire
don't.
movie.
well,
Okay.
and
So we're
yeah,
trying not
we
to do that.
started Theater Junkies after that. We actually, it was Saw 10 we did on Scream Creeps was the one that we just royally
Yeah, and then
spoiled the
Oh.
Oh,
hell
okay,
out
yeah.
of. And then the first one we did on
Okay.
Theater Junkies was not was it Napoleon? I don't think
Yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
I because we've done Napoleon, Argyle, this and this one now, and I think there was one before that. I want to say we did
I
one to
don't
begin with.
recall.
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't
but
remember.
we started this podcast not spoiling anything because of
Oh,
what we
okay.
did on. Since this is a premiere
On the
podcast,
we want to give people the opportunity
yeah.
to watch it and know that they're not going to get spoiled.
Okay.
That it's just our opinion whether or
Okay.
not
I'll
we'll
save
get
that
to that
then. There
part
are
as we
parts that
as
I just
we're
didn't
into it.
understand why they even put them in the
Oh, it was
movie.
the
But
Marvels. That
Yeah,
was the
yeah, of
first one.
course.
The Marvels was the first
The
one.
Marvels, yeah.
Oh yeah,
But what I was saying was he just didn't seem menacing enough, even though he had cool features to his character. I just didn't feel that he was menacing. Like there was no sense of urgency that was brought out enough to really care for a viewer. Like I understood her, like their acting and stuff like that, why they were doing it to allude to that, but I didn't feel it. So it was really difficult for me
well,
Well, yeah,
do you
to kind
think
of
that was
follow the
mainly
story.
because it was all about her character and how
That was
she
actually the
grows?
saving grace of the movie, I think, because it's an
Yeah.
origin story, right?
Mhm.
So in all origin stories, for most people, that's the hardest part to really get through. It's like you just want to get to the end product and what they can do,
Mhm.
but it's like I think they told the story really well of how she got to where she will eventually be, and it's like without giving away too much, she was the embodiment of a protagonist.
hmm
She had her faults in the very beginning, and then she was trying to do better, and then something happened to where she had to change, and then she changed for the better. So it was like, and she
Very
wanted
true.
that. So it's like that was the saving grace of the movie, was the
Yeah,
writing
that
from that perspective. Were there little tidbits here and there that were like, oh, that was cringy, or that was this, that, and the other? Yeah, there was, but overall, I think it was a good story.
yeah, I like I said, I didn't want to leave the theater or anything. It was good for me. I mean, it
Hmm.
wasn't great, but it was sittable. It was a good movie. You feel like you paid the money. It was worth the money you paid
It
for it.
wasn't, yeah. Even if you just came in off the street, I was like,
Yeah,
which movie would I go see? Oh, Madam Web, that looks like it. You didn't waste your money.
yeah.
Oh, and
It,
There
especially
have
it
been
considering if you looked at Rotten Tomatoes before you went and watched this movie, you would have been iffy, because Rotten Tomatoes, I
it's
think,
probably
is at
30,
15% right now, and
15.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
for
that's
critics
for the
and
critics
oh
version, right?
yeah,
wow,
audience is 55% the last time I looked,
wow.
but if you look at that, that's half and half. It's like
Wow.
for audience, but critics, that I always say the critics, I don't think half the time, and we're critics really on this podcast, but at the same
Yeah.
time we're audience at the same time. But um I think I don't know what they look at half the time, because some of the movies they like
Well, I mean, what is
really
the
a
Rotten
lot.
Tomatoes score? Is that people?
Well, it's
That's just all critics.
critics and audience, so it's just whoever
Yeah, but the overall, you
reviews
said the
it.
Rotten Tomatoes score was 15%,
Yeah.
and then
No,
you said
the
critics and
critics
audience
score
was
was 15. The critics
oh, the
was,
critics
yeah,
score was 15. The
and the
audience score was
audience was
Yeah,
15.
55. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, so that tells
Um.
you. I mean, but if you just look at what the critics think, you wouldn't even probably step foot in the theater. I mean, so it's like
Yeah.
I
yeah,
I
never
mean,
pay
for half
attention to
of
what they
the
do.
movies that are
Or
out,
listen to other
yeah,
people.
Hmm.
it's like
yeah,
what
Aaron was
most
telling me that
most
somebody
critics
told
of.
him that the movie was bad. So, if you
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
other people too.
we
yeah,
had someone tell me it was bad,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm not saying it was the most horrible movie. You know what I mean? But I
yeah.
didn't
I've
think it
seen
was
worse.
great.
And
I
me too.
I think the premise of the movie had a way higher headroom than what it was given in the
Mm.
movie.
Yeah.
I
Like
agree with
it
that
could have
too.
been awesome,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but it I don't know what happened. So, although I did enjoy the movie, I thought it was entertaining. Uh, so yeah, take that as you will. But at the does anyone else have anything to say about the movie in general?
well, like I just wanted to say also at the same time, the character of Madam Web, it's also like an old lady for
Uh huh.
for what happened. So I think they were telling this like the beginning before she turned, because
Yeah,
I don't know exactly in
it's
the
her
comic
origin
books
story. How she
how
got there.
she turns into that, because I know she gets around Spider-Man. I don't remember the whole thing because I mostly remember her from the animated series, not so
I
much the
I
comic books.
I thought she was antagonist.
Yeah, I think
I
at
thought
one
she
point she
turned
was, but
bad.
then, like, I think that's why they kind of do with some of these characters, like Morbius. I didn't realize that he was a
Yeah.
reformed guy, like where he was bad at first because he was going all crazy, then he reformed.
Uh
Venom
huh.
reformed. He did the same thing.
Oh
So it's
Yeah.
like certain people, like I think that's one reason why they're picking these people out though, like in their movies, because they're I'm like Craven the Hunter. I don't
The
know about though. I think he's
anti-hero.
always been like straight up like bad the whole time, but like I think they're trying to pick of anyone that they could turn. Like if they decided to make another movie about like a straight up villain or something, I don't think it would work though. But
Well, I
you
mean, you
never
think
know. They
about it.
made the Joker movie though, so
Sony still has the rights to the Spider Verse, right, or to Spider Man. Anything associated with Spider Man at that correct? Am I right in that
yeah,
assessment?
Yeah, that's
So
why
it's
they're
like
still making
at
them.
this
Yeah.
point, they've went through a lot of characters. They're choosing people that you like. They're trying to scrape out as much as they can before their term comes up, because eventually, I think someone else gets the rights, right? Once, or it's up
Well,
for
if they stop making, like, I know sometimes they do it where they do it a movie deal. If you keep putting out movies, then you don't give up the rights. So, like, it depends on the contract that they signed
yeah.
first.
So that
So, like, if
if
they were
that
like,
were the
you have to make this many movies in this amount of time, otherwise you can't make Spider-Man movies anymore, then
well,
that's
if
probably why
that's the
they're
case,
doing all
that would
these.
explain why they're scraping. I'm
Yeah,
not saying Adam Web is
yeah.
the bottom of the barrel, but why they're scraping at characters to really make as a leading in a movie.
Was that
So it's
Hmm.
like,
Coco or Lola?
That was
That's
Lola.
Yeah.
Lola. Always Lola, man.
Have to get her out of here.
but yeah. So with that being said, guys, what do you think? What would you give it a score, Jeremy? For would you say go to the movie theaters or wait for it to come out and stream?
uh, I always say go to watch Marvel movies in the theater. I, I mean, just I mean,
Regardless of how
and
they are.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know because they're just so grandiose. I guess I mean, even though Sony made this, I mean, when you look at the backstory, and I just want to point this out, when you look at the backstory of Madam Web, they kind of hit on a lot of it. I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of juxtaposed a few things on top of it. But if you look back at her origin story from the comics, they've gotten pretty close to it, and um, they just made a couple of, you know, just like the antagonist you talked about in this film, he's from the Spider-Man universe too. So,
Oh,
Oh, really?
really? I didn't
yeah,
even know that he was.
yeah. So, and but that's
Who
all I'm
was
going to
he
leave at
in the
that. As
Spider
for
Verse? Are you talking about Ezekiel's or
Ezekiel
Ezekiel
Sims,
Sims was
yeah,
in the Spider
yeah,
Verse? Did he
yeah.
dress up as a Spider Man esque
No, and
character?
that's he had powers similar to him, so he could do all the stuff that he was doing, but he didn't like dress like him. And
Dress up like
Yeah,
Spider
that's where
Man.
it
Yeah.
goes back to what you were saying earlier, was that they were trying to
see, I
pull
mean,
that
that's
in.
what it felt like.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
just trying to be
it
like,
felt
hey,
like that
watch
was
it
what they
because
were
some.
pushing for.
but yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, all these but anyways, but yeah, as far as I say, you could. I mean, a lot of people, if you don't like watching the Marvel movies in the theater, then you can wait for it to hit. Probably, well, it's Sony, so I'm not even sure. Well, I guess it would hit Disney Plus, but
Probably
I'm
going
not
to be
sure.
like a month or something like that. It
But
probably won't be on Disney Plus, but it'll come out on like
yeah,
Netflix or something.
yeah, but
I don't remember how long it took for
I don't think
Morbius,
Netflix is
but
going to come out
not
on
that long.
HBO. Columbia,
Or
HBO
that
has.
too, either one. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure which one.
What
I
about
don't
you,
think.
Mom? Would you suggest for friends to go watch this in theaters or no?
Who, me?
This is
I would. I would.
Mom.
Oh,
Why
mom.
not?
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't hear that.
Why not? Well, I didn't hear any language in it. I didn't see any. There wasn't really any blood except the one part in it. There wasn't a whole lot of uh, vi- it was special
Well, you
effects, which
you
everybody
said it
loves to
earlier.
see.
You think it's worth going to. You didn't
I
feel like
do.
you wasted your
I would.
money.
Yeah, I don't feel like I wasted my money. I felt
Okay.
like once I left the theater, I felt okay with it. So, I would recommend it to anybody who wanted to see it if they wanted to spend an afternoon somewhere. You know, go see
All
the
right.
movie.
There is one
And
other.
Josh, what about you?
When Josh gets
Wait
done,
till
there's one other.
streaming.
There,
That's what I would say. Wait, oh.
Wait till it's streamable.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I would
and
say.
I didn't even
What,
I don't
that's
even
easy.
read the comic books either. So
Yeah.
If you read the comic books, maybe you'd be a little disappointed. I don't know.
I mean, you would probably be more better off enjoying the story probably if you knew more of the
Yeah,
comics.
Well,
Jeremy
but
already
that
said
could
that
be true.
but
there was
we'll
certain
well we'll
people
talk.
in there,
Yeah, we'll talk
but
about it
I mean,
after we're done with the podcast. But one thing I didn't want to cut you off, Aaron. But one thing I did want to ask is before the movie started, we saw a bunch of previews. How many did you guys see that were horror?
Two?
I
Okay.
saw at least
So
one.
so
The
almost
Bear
every
one.
single one that we saw was a horror movie. The first
Really?
one was The First Omen.
Yeah, we
Wow.
didn't see that
The
one,
second one was
or at least I
Imaginary.
didn't.
Yeah,
We saw
we
that
saw
one.
that one.
The third one, what was the third one? Oh, Dune Part 2 was another one. That's not a horror movie, but
We
Dune
didn't see
Part
that one.
2.
Right?
Yeah,
And then I'm trying to think what else. There was three horror
Tarot
movies.
was one of the
Yeah, the
one that
tarot
I
one.
saw,
Yeah, that was one of them. So
Yeah,
it was
which
Oh, we saw Tarot. That was
yeah.
that looked kind of weird, but I mean, I don't know if
So
it's probably
I
something
just
we'll
wanted to
talk
point that
about on
out.
Stream
I
Creeps or
had
something.
my 11-year-old with us instead of just Aiden because it was a PG-13 movie, and I had read that it's fine for
Mhm.
him, which it is. So if you have kids that are around that age, it's appropriate for them to see, I would say.
yeah.
Um, but beforehand, he's covering his face because of all
Yeah.
the
Oh
horror
yeah,
previews to
yeah.
start with. So, but seeing some of those previews though, that we will be talking about them either on this podcast or on our Scream Creeps one. So,
Agreed.
um, but that's it. I just wanted to ask you
Uh,
guys that because I tend to
well, yeah. While it
ask
was
that
in your
one.
brain, while you were thinking
Yeah.
about it, but yeah, I mean, no, I guess it's my turn. I would say, either way, you can go either. If you felt you gotta watch this in theaters, go for it. You're not gonna feel like you're wasting your time or money. You're really not. Am I gonna suggest this for somebody that's oh no, you need to go see this in theaters? No, it's not like something like Avatar. Avatar, if you didn't go see that in theaters, you're out of your mind. That's something that should be exclusively in movie theaters. But
Well,
it was an entertaining movie. So
Hmm.
watch it. It's a good one. But what were you going to say, Jeremy?
I wasn't going to say anything besides the fact that like Dune
No.
Part 2 next week or the 29th is going to be one you'll want to see in the theater.
Yeah, Dune 2 will be
Which
one on
I
the
got to
list.
rewatch the first one again.
Fortunately,
Sorry.
if Jeremy and Josh and other people want to do the podcast next week to do that, or the following week, in order to do that, they can. I unfortunately will be out of. Well, fortunate for me, unfortunate for the podcast, I will be out of town. I'll be in Brazil for 10 days, visiting a very, very, very wonderful person. So I'll be back after that. I'm not worried about work,
Yeah.
even though this is hardly work.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll say, Madam Web. It was a thumbs up and a thumb sideways.
Yeah.
It was
Hmm.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Hope you
I
enjoy
give
it.
it a 7 out of 10. you
Yeah, there
know?
you go. 7 out of 10
Yeah.
on the higher scope. That's good. Yeah, 7 out of 10. But from we've got a lot going on here at Heart of Geek. We're doing a lot of content. We've got Scream Creeps coming out every single week. What's the schedule, Jeremy? It's
Every Friday.
Friday.
Every
Every
Friday.
Friday at 6 a.m. We have Scream Creeps podcast going on. Just about every other week we have the Theater Junkies podcast. Random Reacts is a new series that I've been doing to where I do random what is it? I
Reactions.
react to random stuff on the internet. The more people that watch it, comment down below what you might like me to react to, and I'll watch it. As controversial as it may be, whatever, man. I'll watch whatever, as long as it's okay to put on YouTube. So we are also streaming on Saturday nights for our Call of Duty and or game night that we've been doing. And let's see, I personally, if you, well, actually, like, subscribe, and click that notification bell down below. Follow the Heart of Geek. We've got a bunch of stuff coming out to you guys. Also, go to Aaron Christopher TV on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow me there because I've been streaming a lot lately, and I will be doing a lot more there as far as playing video games and doing hanging out, chatting, getting you guys on. So, but from everyone at the Heart of Geek, love you. Bye.
See ya.